All right, welcome back in the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Shawn Porter, Terence Crawford, and Shawn Porter's reaction to finding out that Terence Crawford was ordered to fight him. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Shawn Porter's reaction to finding out that he was ordered, or that Terence Crawford was ordered to fight him. Before I get into that though, please make sure, if you're not already subscribed, to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and then share the video. It goes a great way towards growing the channel, and it will be greatly appreciated. So this is one of the really good moments in boxing this year. It is a fight that I don't think anybody saw coming, and as a result, or not even as a result, you know, having it come here and actually be something that is more than likely going to be reality, really, in my opinion, is a really good sign for boxing. I personally had been fighting for about a year. I don't know if we can call me fighting, but I've been doing videos and talking about how great a matchup it would be to have Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford fight, because Shawn Porter, while he doesn't have a belt, is as high a level of a fighter that you have in 147 that doesn't have a belt. And so it seemed to me that he would be the perfect test for Terence Crawford to fight, and to see if Terence Crawford can actually beat an elite level welterweight. But there was a lot of pushback on the fight. Terence Crawford originally said that he wasn't interested in it. Shawn Porter was saying that he wasn't interested in it. But as more and more people in the boxing community started pushing for the fight and seeing how much sense it made, Shawn Porter eventually said and went and talked to Al Heyman and got permission from Al Heyman to approach Terence Crawford's team about making the fight. But the response from the Terence Crawford's team was no, right? And I do believe initially from Bob Arum was no. So, because Bob Arum doesn't necessarily have the best working relationship between his promotional company, Top Rank, and the PBC, so there was that kind of rift. But in steps the WBO to order it as a mandatory fight. And now we're in a situation where the fight could be taking place. So Shawn Porter's reaction to it was, a couple things that he said about it was, one, that he was surprised. He was surprised that he didn't see it coming, that order came from left field. And so, you know, he didn't expect that. I think that is fair to assume that most people did not expect that, seeing as Shawn Porter had been removed from the #1 position in the WBO down to the #2 position in the WBO. But not only did the WBO take the #2 guy, they also got rid of a substantial hurdle to the fight, which was the amount of money that would be paid for Shawn Porter, and the split that would come if there was a purse bid. And now the reason that is important is because when the WBO set the purse bid at 60% for Terence Crawford and 40% for Shawn Porter, they pretty much set a floor or the minimum amount that Shawn Porter was going to get paid. So going into negotiation with them, Shawn Porter would know that the minimum that he's going to get is 40% of the purse, because he would never agree to less than he would get in the purse bid, right? In just an open negotiation. So more than likely, if they don't want to go to purse bid, which I don't believe the PBC wants to go to, nor does Top Rank want to go to purse bid for this fight, I think you're going to wind up finding that there's going to be a slightly sweeter deal for Shawn Porter. And so the WBO took care of all of that, wrapped that up nice and neatly in a bow, and now we've got this fight. So now Shawn Porter saying that he was surprised. I mean, I suppose if I was him, I would be surprised at not only the order, but also the distribution of the money being handled in a way where, you know, it's reasonable for him. Because I would expect, if they put this thing on a pay-per-view, that Shawn Porter would be looking for at least 40% of the purse. So that going out of the way and being pushed out of the way, it surprised me, and it surprised Shawn Porter. Now, what Shawn Porter is thinking about the fight is actually something that I heard in my live stream this morning, which is this fight is a very, very much a throwback type of fight. Because it is a fight where you have two guys that both have an opportunity to win, and both of these guys really come to fight. They both have decent fan bases, but really the fan base in the welterweight division, because of all the other fights that have taken place, like the Errol Spence Jr. You ever heard the phrase "rising tide lift all boats"? Well, you've got this fight should be taking place somewhere in the November time frame, right after in August, September, October. So a couple months after, you have Errol Spence Jr. fighting Manny Pacquiao, but you have a lot of really good fights that have been taking place in the welterweight division. And a lot of fans have been concerned because Terence Crawford has been left out of that equation, fighting the likes of Kell Brooks, Amir Khan's, Igis Kalvanakis, Jose Benavidez, those guys, but those guys have not necessarily been made the most popular fights for Terence Crawford. But when you put him in there with Shawn Porter, somebody that's been on pay-per-view with Errol Spence, and somebody that is very, very well known in that welterweight division, I think you're going to find a situation where it's a peanut butter and chocolate type of situation, and there's going to be a lot of people really interested in it, which is what Shawn Porter said that is really excites him about the fight, is that he looked back and he was like, the reason that he got into boxing was because of Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and how intense the fight was and how many people were just screaming and cheering for the fans. And he believes that this fight is a fight, maybe not of that magnitude, but definitely one where the styles of the fight match up, and where you're going to have a lot of excitement in the fight. Now, I believe, and this was actually asked of Shawn Porter in the Porter Way podcast, I think that's the name of it. Please forgive me. And he was asked by one of his co-hosts, do you think Bob Arum had anything to do with making this fight? And I believe without a doubt that Bob Arum had something to do with this fight, because Bob Arum was either going to have to pay another $4 million to Terence Crawford for this Jose Cepeda fight, or he could set him up with a marquee fight, and a marquee fight that he might actually Bob Arum might actually be able to make some money off of. Because just for me, I have a really hard time believing that the WBO just popped out and ordered Bob to make this fight, and Bob Arum is just, Bob Arum sounds like he's almost head over heels in love with this fight, because he thinks it's an opportunity for him to make some money off of Terence Crawford. But all in all, I'm really excited about the fight. I liked Shawn Porter's reaction to it. And again, like he said, he's as surprised. I was surprised as he is surprised, and everybody else is surprised. Let's hope that there isn't any additional surprises, which would be Terence Crawford somehow not taking a fight. But that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.